Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you another brilliant chess puzzle where I have composed, and white can actually win with a brilliant rook sacrifice. And as you can see in this position, black is basically up a bishop and a knight and is threatening to take one of white's bishops or knights and it's actually threatening some pretty damn nasty tactics here, involving mate as well. So it might seem like white's best option is to get a queen sacrifice, not a queen sacrifice, but a queen trade in order to smooth things up and beat down a lot of material. But it's all an illusion, because white can play the brilliant move rook takes h7 check. Now, after the forced recapture, white can activate the other rook with rook to h1. And black can throw in his dark square bishop in the way, but it'll just get black mated faster, and I'll go through that line later in this video. So right now, let's say that black does king to g7. Now white can activate the queen with queen to h6. And now, as you can see, black is forced to go to f6, of course. White's queen is blocking the black king from ever escaping back, so black's king is basically forced to come forward. However, white cannot immediately play rook to e1, threatening some tactics with check and possibly getting the king to f5, because it'll basically be mate like this. And instead, white must play knight takes d5 check. And in this position, black has three possible squares that he could go to, either f5, e5, or e6. Now let's say that black goes to f5. This is just a massive blunder after queen to h3 check, and if black goes to g5, then it'll be simply mate after queen to g4. And if black goes to e5, then after rook e1, king to d6 is met by queen to h2 check, and after king to c6, white can take the bishop, which is mate. And if king to d4, then simply rook to e4 mate. And black's king is cuddled to death, surrounded by basically all of white's pieces. So it's pretty clear that king to f5 isn't a very good move. Now let's see what happens if the black king goes to e5. White can once again play queen to f4, and after the forced move king to e6, white can finish the game with queen to f6. So it's pretty clear that both of these moves coming forward aren't so good for black. So now let's take a look at the best move, which is king to e6. Now white can play rook to e1, and like I said before, there's a lot of pressure here, and keep in mind this queen still exists, so it's blocking all of black's escape routes. And in this position, black can play king to f5, but it'll be simply met with a pawn checkmate, which is incredibly embarrassing. And if black goes to d6, then simply queen to h2, and after the forced move, white can simply again play queen takes c7 mate, and black is surrounded again by all of white's pieces, just climbing down like a clamor on black's king. So the best move is actually to block the way of the rook with bishop to e5. And it might seem that the best play is to do queen to, well, actually white's in check. And it might seem that white has lost all hope, but white, seeing all the way to the end, plays the second rook sacrifice, rook takes e5 check. And if king takes e5 immediately, then simply queen to f4, and after king to e6, queen to f6 is mate. So the best move is actually to go to d6, and now it actually seems like white is out of attacks. But white is just a complete genius and a madman and plays another amazing move, rook to e6. Now this time it forces black to take the rook, because black cannot run away anymore. So let's see what happens if king takes rook. Well, this is met by queen to e3, and no matter where black goes, it'll be basically mate, and this is again a nice pawn checkmate. while king to d6 allows queen to f4, and we can see the same variation happen over and over again. So it seems that king takes rook is not the best move. Now let's see what happens if f takes e6. Simply queen to e4, and again we have the same checkmate. And the best move is d takes e6, which white can respond with queen to f4. And both of the king moves immediately allows checkmate. So it seems it's not as good. But the best move here is pawn to e5. However, this allows the f6 square to be open for a check. So after queen to f6, king is forced to go to d7. Queen e7 forces the king to move forward or down, and both of these moves will lead to queen to e7 checkmate. An amazing checkmate which involves basically all of white's pieces climbing down on black's king. Now let's see what happens if the bishop is thrown into the way of the rook at the first part of the puzzle. Hello everyone, this is gonna be the second part of my puzzle where I'll show you what happens if black plays bishop to h2 blocking the check. And of course the best move is just to take, and then after the forced king to g7, white can once again play queen to g6. After the forced move king to f6, now white can play knight takes d5, and this will be made, black will be made it faster since the dark squared bishop is gone. And there are some crucial squares that the queen sometimes need to get on when before it can't, since the bishop was here. And again, if the king goes to, like, let's say f5, then simply white can play queen to f4, and we can't do that last time since the bishop was here, so just take the queen. And after king to e6, this is mate. And if black goes king to e5, then we can simply repeat the same variation and it'll be mate faster. And if king to e6, then we can once again play king to e3, queen to e3, and the variations will basically be the same but a lot faster since the bishop isn't there. And this doesn't really require the rook sacrifice anymore as well. But it's still an interesting alternative to see what will happen if black had sacrificed the bishop on the first move. And that'll be the grand finale end of my puzzle. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, because it took me a pretty long time to make this video. And I'll see you all in the next video.